Is it on?
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Final Third podcast. Today we're back with my grandpa and today we're going to be talking about England again, but this time England are in the Euros. Not been doing too well, obviously a draw last night and a win against Serbia. What do you think of the performance from both of them games so far?
Are you asking me that?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'd say it's been very poor. The football, it hasn't been interesting at all. You've had a job really to enjoy what we've seen up to now.
Yeah. I think really England overall were favourites to win, but now looking at the performances, we don't look like a team that want to win the Euros. We're lacking in midfield, and we're lacking just in the squad in general. And to me, we look really unfit, and we don't seem to want it more like Germany and France. But I think England overall, we don't want to win it. We don't want to win it. So for example, what do you think of Kane at the moment?
Well, we won't go into individual players because when a team isn't playing like a team, you can't really pick out individuals.
Yeah.
I've been very disappointed in the performances, what we've seen up to now.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really pick out one man. If you pick out one man, you're going to have to pick out quite a few people in that team who's underperformed.
Yeah.
Now, straight away, people are going to say Southgate. That's on their mind. Every time they see a football match, England match, and they don't do well, they're straight on to Southgate. Now, I don't believe in Southgate. I thought he was lucky to get a renewal of his contract. I think it was around about 4 million, his second contract he got to take him towards Euro. And I think he was very lucky to keep his job. But saying that, can you blame Southgate for all of it? You just look at it. Southgate only applies for that job as a manager. There's people in the background who actually pick the manager. Now, why aren't people getting onto them? The people who actually pick Southgate or any manager. If it was a club, any club in this country, if the manager's not doing well, what happens to him?
Get rid of him.
They're looking around for someone who will think I get a better performance. So, for one thing, these people who pick the England manager, I've heard people say they only pick yes men. I don't know what yes man is, but it must be someone who won't take the blame when they pick the wrong man for a job. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you there.
You do.
So Southgate, in my opinion, shouldn't really be managing. He's been managing for a few years now for England, and we all know he can't win a trophy with them.
But William, there's people even now saying, "Oh, he's taken us to a final. He's taken us to a..."
Yeah, but he hasn't won anything.
No, just a minute. He's taken to a final and a semi-final, and a lot of people, they think that's good enough. Yet when you set out to play in the Euros, the bookies make you 3-1. They made them 3-1 favourite at one time to win the Euros. And when they've turned out and played in these early games, to me, a bookmaker, he was giving a price well under what he should. They should have been round about 5 or 6 to 1 at least. But 3-1, this is why people are expecting them to perform a lot better than they have. But bookmakers never get it wrong. They're always on the right side. Racing, football, you never see a bookmaker going to work to a race meeting on a bike, do you?
No.
You never see a bookmaker on a bike going to a race meeting, because they're very clever men, these bookmakers. It's their living, they make a living through it. But going back to football, I don't want to pick holes in bookmakers, because if it weren't for bookmakers and you had totalisator all the time, well, you had to bet on the tote, and they take their share out of the winnings before they start paying out to the punters. So really, I mean, they do a good job, the bookmakers in this country, and we're lucky to still have them. America don't have them. You never get a bet with a bookmaker unless it's a dodgy deal, but it's all totalisator out there. You have to go and, that's where you have your bets, going in straight into your. But I think the main thing is, the main reason is they're not a team. Football is a game where you play football and you know what you're doing. You've got, it's no good going onto a football pitch with 11 top footballers in the world and try to make them knit together like they try to with this Euros. It just don't work. You've got, I would say, a lot of Premier teams, if you could find one what was English, a lot of Premier sides put up against this team, what England's got now, well, they beat them easy. I think they would beat them easy. Yeah. But there again, we can't play them in our teams because most of them are foreign players, is it? But as I say, it's got to a point now, even though the bookies are only laying 9-2 England to win the Euros, they're going 4-1 France, 4-1 Germany. They've gone to third favourites. But I wouldn't, if you was actually having a bet, Will, would you take 9-2 about England winning the Euros?
No.
Well, I wouldn't. I wouldn't even look at that bet.
No. Useless.
Go on then. Off you go, Will.
So, yeah, going on to Southgate, in the next game, should he change any players going into the next game? Well, to start
with, Will, if you notice that the foreign teams, what we've played up to now, I've seen as many as 5 substitutes. They've used their squad. If they're not getting it right, they're bringing their subs on to see if they can get it right.
And Mike Southgate was waiting like 80, 70 minutes.
Well, I mean, when you look at the man sat on the sideline, you wouldn't think he was interested.
No.
Not a bit of interest. But if you've got all them players on the bench, surely if your team's playing not well, you should change him about. I mean, bring someone on, and if he don't go in good, sub him and let someone else come on. You've got 5 choices to bring players on, and there's not one team that they've played that he's used all his subs, and when he's brought them on, 20 minutes before the end of the game, well, you see people kicking off, and straight away they're putting a sub on, not because they're injured, because they see that they're not going to improve, so they bring someone on. But with Southgate, he don't seem to be interested. He's frightened to change the system what he plays with these players. But you can't blame the players, because it's like playing in a foreign team because they don't play with them same players every week. And a lot of these foreign teams, I actually think they do get a longer preparation to go into World Cup and Euros.
Yeah. I think Southgate, in my opinion, he's just useless. He don't use his subs, and
you can't really say that, Ben, Will, because I'm going back to them people who pick the manager. Yeah. Why don't the people who constantly criticise the manager, when all he did was apply for the job, and if he got the job, he wasn't going to refuse it.
No.
Because it was a good payday. It's obvious that.
Yeah.
But them people who pick the manager, they're the people who like to, as I don't know what a yes man is, but it's obvious that it's a kind of manager that they like. They probably they don't finish there.
Mm.
When they pick a manager, they say, right, he'll do as he's told.
Mm. Yeah.
So there must be something behind it there.
Yeah. Going on to the Euros as well, do you think we have got a chance of winning it?
If it were 100 to 1, Will, in betting, I wouldn't have a shilling on them. And a shilling is 5 new pence, if you don't know.
Yeah, I know. If we get to the semis, for example, against France and knock France out, do you think we could win it?
Well, I'd say they won't go to the semis. It's no good me saying would they win it if they got to the semis, but I don't think they'll even get to the semis. You have to have a team what know what they're doing, know how they're playing together, and a team is a team with 11 players or even more with the subs know what they're going to do. They're a move in front. I watched England against Denmark, and they look like, to me, 11 statues because they weren't exerted. You'd think that just being on the pitch was good enough for them.
Yeah. Obviously, we've got a game on Tuesday or Wednesday night against Slovenia. Do you think Southgate could improve the players to win the game?
Well, I can't say about this team you just mentioned. Slovenia, was it?
Slovenia.
Well, I don't think I've watched them play, so I can't really say. Well, but what I can say, I can't see the manager altering anything what he hasn't done before.
Well, surely he's got to change something for Tuesday.
Well, the weakness in the team obviously is the defence. You've only got about 2 decent players who's actually got stuck in and got into the tackles. But other than that, a man who they didn't take, and he's not liked. I don't know why, but the man who always gave a good performance and knew what he was doing in the defence was Maguire. Yet he was an out-and-out player for England, and he didn't shine, but he was always there doing his bit.
Yeah.
Where a lot of these players now playing in this tournament, they're not doing their bit. They're not doing enough. They're not good enough. They're not knitting together. You want a team. That's what you want. You want a team what's playing in these tournaments.
If we get beat by Slovenia, for example, on Tuesday, is it Southgate's time to go if we get beat to Slovenia?
Well, he wouldn't go until after the Euros anyway, Ben.
Yeah.
But you don't know. It's not the public who picked the England manager. Yeah. This is why I can't understand why everything goes on his shoulders. I don't like the man. I don't think he's entitled to be the manager of England. But what are these people behind the scenes who's picking these managers? Why don't people get on their backs and say, come on, let's have someone who we know who could do the job?
Yeah.
Southgate's had 2 chances. He had that first contract, and then they renewed it, and they give him another contract. They thought they must have been satisfied.
Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of people who watch football. They're not interested.
No.
They're not interested in what they think because they're not doing the right thing, them people who pick the England manager.
Would you, for example, of the team, would you start anyone on the bench that hasn't come on? Would you start Cole Palmer?
I'd try anybody because they're not performing well.
Yeah.
They're not performing at all. I mean, they took the lad from Foden from Manchester City.
Yeah.
They took, and I read a bit where that Stones who plays in the back, which I don't reckon is an international anyway. I know he's played a few games, but to me, he's not. He don't sparkle where he plays.
No.
Don't Stones, and I don't know. You can talk all day, And you'll get loads of people will criticise what you've said, and I know, but I always think everybody has an opinion. You don't have to be rude, you don't have to say things what's silly, but everybody has got an opinion, and it's good to hear people criticising this team, what they've taken to Germany.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you've got your own opinion and you'd like who you like and what have you, so what, but yeah.
See, they're playing a man on the left-hand side at fullback. He's a right-footed player. He's a good player. He's a good player. He plays well for his club. He's entitled to get an international place. There's no doubt about it. And he hasn't played too badly. But surely it's a disadvantage to play a man on the wrong side of the pitch. I mean, some people like Foden. Yeah. Now he likes to. He's a left-footed player, isn't he? Yeah, he's Foden. Yeah. And he likes to come in from the right. So this is where he scores his goals for Manchester City. He comes off the right, gets onto his left foot, and he scores some beautiful goals this year. Yeah. But it just hasn't worked in England.
No, I think Southgate does do a few things wrong for England, and we see that in the team. And yeah, I don't get why he isn't already out, because he's got us to a semis and a finals, which doesn't really matter because he hasn't won anything. So,
especially when you're favourites to win it.
Yeah, and if you're favourites to win it, then yeah, go on and
you want to see more, don't you? Well,
yeah, you need to see more from, for example, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kane, who else? Saka, Foden. You need to see more. You need goals. You can't just... Once we get the first goal...
Now, I read a lot of comments about Saka on the right wing. He's had a brilliant season with Arsenal, as Saka. He had a good games when he playing for England in the World Cup, didn't he?
Yeah.
He played well. He plays very well. But if you notice, there's a lot of people criticise him because he wasn't getting the ball across to Kane. But I don't know if they didn't notice. There was nearly someone, the fullback, stood on his shoulder nearly all the time. They give him room. He's well known. He's a tricky player, and he scores a lot of goals and he makes a lot of goals. But when you've got someone stood against you all the time and not leaving you, they can't play the game. No. And he's not a kind of player who can push people aside because he's only small. But saying that, he's a brilliant player.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. One last thing, I think in the Euros, looking at where we are drawn and won in the group stage, if we do win by a few goals against Slovenia, it doesn't really mean anything. But if we come up against a big team, if we do go through, do you think we'll get like battered? But because of the team, what we've been playing with, like
you've got to win. I mean, they could still go through if say they get a draw. What they got now? 4 points.
4 points.
4 points. But I haven't really checked the league what they're in because really I haven't been all that interested the way things have been going. I mean, my wife goes to bed at 9 o'clock. Sometimes I think, am I doing right? Sat down here watching this when I could be in bed asleep.
Yeah, because it's just rubbish. It's boring to watch. Like yesterday, I was at school and I was like, I'm not actually excited to watch the game because what you get from England is nothing. You don't get a good performance, and when you're watching it, you're not even happy when you're watching it because it's boring.
But football nowadays, it's changed completely, even to the supporters. Yeah. Supporters will go to a match, and they say they support one team. They'll be satisfied if they get a draw. They don't have to win, but they're satisfied to get a draw. When I used to go to a football match many years ago, I'm afraid to say, was if I went to a football match and see two teams play really well against each other, I used to go home satisfied. Yeah. But nowadays, supporters seem to think, we've got to win. We've got to... They check the other teams around them in the league making sure they haven't won, saying, "Oh, we want to win today because so and so won yesterday." You know, it's and the trouble is, winning is all the main thing nowadays because money controls football. All your big teams nowadays is clubs with money. They can buy a player for a lot of money and let him sit on the bench, only to stop him going to another club who want him.
Yeah,
they do that. I mean, that's not football. It's not. It don't interest me, that kind of football.
yeah,
But a lot of these supporters nowadays, they go to a match, even if it's a miserable match and nothing happens in it. If they don't lose, they're satisfied.
yeah. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Like, I mean, like, they're not satisfied with a draw. Yeah, yes, you're right there. But yesterday, England fans went home as soon as the final whistle went, and they went. But Denmark actually stayed behind to clap the team off. But yeah, it's different, like you said.
Anyway, we've covered
England,
just a few little things. It's only our opinion. I mean, people watching this video, they think, well, what a load of rubbish. What are they talking? They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They're probably right, but anyway, it's just a bit of interest. Well, isn't it?
A bit of fun, yeah.
So I'm going to finish now, and
yeah.
And we won't go to sleep now when we go to bed, you know, thinking about what we've said.
Yeah. So like and subscribe. Thanks for being on, Grandpa.
Oh, anytime, Will.
And
Anytime.
Hopefully next time when we're speaking, hopefully we've won the Euros.
Well, I've got 5 pence in my pocket. If we win the Euros, you can have that 5p.
Right.
Okay, well.
Thank you. Like and subscribe.
The end. Is it on? Are you asking me that?